at the forefront of politics.
Our enemy is Trump. He is the enemy. We got to unite. If we're not a united party, we lose to Trump.
On the front lines of activism.
There's certain fights, if we don't engage, they win. This is a fundamental question of who we are.
And delivering your daily dose of comedy.
Donald Trump, when he had his physical, they had his blood pressure, and mine is higher than his. Oh. And the irony is mine is higher because of him.
From the blue wave.
We flipped. Enough seats to take control of the House. We control the House.
To 2020 and beyond. This is the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress, Channel 127.
And welcome to the show, brothers and sisters. Monday, February 3rd. I'm Dean Obeidallah. Hoping to be your MBFF, your special Iowa caucus MBFF. I was your impeachment MBF. I've now morphed. That's in the rearview mirror a little bit, although we'll talk about that for a couple of minutes. 274 days to the most important election of our lives. Judgment Day. It is certainly Judgment Day, and tonight begins the process of picking the woman or man who will represent our party against Donald Trump in November. So it's kind of exciting. It's been a long time getting here. But we're going to cover a few other issues, then we're going to come back to Iowa, and I want to hear from you. We haven't done this in a long time on this show, getting a sense of who are the candidates you like. It comes up here and there, but I mean actually dedicated to actually talking about that. But first, few things. First, a reminder. I'm going to remind people often of this because it doesn't matter who we nominate, they will call that person a socialist. Joe Biden to Bernie to Liz, to anyone else in between, they'll be called a socialist. Reminder, the GOP called Social Security socialism when FDR proposed it. They called Medicare socialism when LBJ unveiled it. Same thing for the ACA when Obama championed it. To the GOP, programs that help working class Americans, that's socialism. Programs that help their wealthy GOP donors, that's capitalism. So whenever you hear them talk about socialism, remind people, do you like Medicare? Do you like Social Security? Do you like having your pre-existing medical conditions covered? Well, the Republicans called all of that socialism. And that we love all of those. And you know what? To be blunt, Medicare and Social Security on some level are closer to socialism than they are to pure capitalism. It is kind of spreading the wealth around, moving money from one group to the other. But this is going to be an interesting campaign. Today, by the way, was the closing argument in the rigged cover-up in the Senate. And, you know, Trump's lawyers didn't need all the time allocated to give their closing statement. And you don't, if you're a lawyer and you know the jury's rigged, why would you bemoan it? Why would you belabor it? Why would you go 2 hours when you're like, look, it's rigged. We bribed everybody. I mean, we'll go like 15 minutes, but they really didn't use much of their time. They don't need to. I want to play one clip, by the way. And this is Adam Schiff today making such a compelling, important point that should scare anyone who cherishes our Constitution, who believes the rule of law should apply, who believes criminals should be punished and not emboldened. Here is Adam Schiff today, clip number 1, please.
He will not change. He has made that clear himself without self-awareness or hesitation. A man without character or ethical compass will never find his way. Even as the most recent and most egregious misconduct was discovered, he was unapologetic, unrepentant, and more dangerous, undeterred. He continued pressing Ukraine to smear his rivals even as the investigation was underway. He invited new countries to get involved in the act, calling on China to do the same. His personal emissary, Rudy Giuliani, dispatched himself to Ukraine, trying to get further foreign interference in our election. The plot goes on, the scheming persists, and the danger will never recede. He has done it before. He will do it again. What are the odds, if left in office, that he will continue trying to cheat? I will tell you, 100%. Not 5, not 10, or even 50, but 100%. If you have found him guilty and you do not remove him from office, he will continue trying to cheat in the election until he succeeds.
What a great closing argument by Adam Schiff. That was really just the very end of all this opening and debating and motions. Adam Schiff about Donald Trump. He was unapologetic, he was unrepentant, and he's more dangerous than ever. And I love the way he put it to the senators there. What's the chances that Donald Trump cheats again, at least tries to cheat again to win this election in 2020? And he said, it's not 5%, it's not 10%, it's not even 50%. It is 100%, and there is no doubt about it, because Donald Trump, as opposed to Bill Clinton, who apologized, who said he was wrong right before he was impeached, said it was his shame, he was going to accept the consequences. What did Donald Trump say? The phone call was perfect. You know what? Trump believes that. Meaning, in his view, he did nothing wrong, and he will continue to do things wrong. He will continue to cheat. That is Donald Trump is. And the GOP emboldened him. In fact, Saturday Night Live did a sketch on Saturday. It was a parody in the opening of the trial. And that sketch looked more like a trial than what the senators gave us because it had witnesses. The same thing that 75% of Americans wanted. And I'll play a couple little short clips of it. I found it funny. Here is Kenan Thompson playing Judge Mathis. So Judge Mathis comes in as Kenan and boots Justice Roberts out and starts out saying what a trial really is. And then they call him John Bolton. Here's clip number 2.
All right, I am done with this nonsense. We are calling witnesses because that's how a damn trial works. John Bolton, get your Lorax ass in here. And Mr. Bolton, what do you have to say for yourself?
Your Honor, the things I saw President Trump do and say made me deeply worried about the future of democracy.
And why are you only coming out with this now?
Because I'm a messy bitch who loves drama.
Now this I like. Okay, come on, don't leave me on red. Give me some of that hot tea. What else is in that book of yours?
No, sorry, Judge, no more free spoilers. But you can pre-order the book now. It's called Harry Potter and the Room Where It Happened.
And then they had Hunter Biden come in as one of the cast members. And then the last one I want to play is Alec Baldwin as Trump. And while this is in jest, obviously, it's a comedy show, the points he makes resonate as true. Let's play clip number 3.
Your Honor, I'm a very sick old man. How could I withhold aid from the Ukraine? I can barely get around the house.
President Trump, are you trying to Weinstein me right now?
In which sense? Because Harvey and I overlap in a few areas.
Mr. President, what is your defense?
My defense is very simple, Your Honor. I'm guilty, but it ain't no thing. Ladies and gentlemen of this government place, what I've learned from this trial is that clearly nothing I do or say has any consequence, so I'd like to come clean about everything. The call with the Ukraine wasn't perfect, it was illegal, and frankly, it was about time. Also, I watch CNN all the time, and it's awesome. I hate the following states: Iowa, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arkansas, and West Virginia. West Carolina, I'm sorry. I cheat all the time at golf, taxes, wives, elections, and bathroom scales. I'm not 239 pounds, I'm 475 pounds.
And the truth in that sketch right there was Trump, Alec Baldwin, saying, nothing I do or say has any consequences. And while this is comedy, the best comedy is based in truth. Nothing I do or say has any consequences. That is true. Why? Because the GOP has made that true. The Republican senators have emboldened a criminal. And they'll say things like, oh, what he's doing is bad. Lamar Alexander, oh, it's wrong. It's inappropriate. Joni Ernst, over the weekend, they asked her, well, are you worried Trump will do it again? And although never before admitting she thought Trump did anything wrong, she said, no, I think he's learned his lesson. Implicitly saying, yeah, he did something wrong. Learned his lesson. Listen to Adam Schiff. What are the odds Donald Trump will cheat again if they do not convict him and remove him? It's not 5%. It's not 10%. Not even 50%. It is 100%. That's absolutely true. And it's remarkable to see Trump's allies defend everything. And Trump will embolden them. And it goes like this kind of circle. And this is a silly thing, but it's true. I mean, last night was the Super Bowl. And Trump tweets out today, and this is not a joke. This is a real thing. I mean, Joe Scarborough called him a stone cold idiot for this. Last night, Kansas City Chiefs from Missouri win the Super Bowl. He tweets, and I'm not making this up, folks. This is real. He wrote, "Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs on a great game and a fantastic comeback under immense pressure. We are proud of you in the great state of Kansas. You are true champions." Kansas, he writes. Kansas City, Kansas. They're in Missouri. How could you be friggin' president of the United States if you do not know where the Kansas City Chiefs, that they're in Missouri, when everything is talked about? It's Missouri, Missouri, Missouri. Kansas City in Kansas is teeny. Kansas City, Missouri is a big metropolis. But Trump doesn't know that. Nothing matters to Trump. These are the flyover to people to Donald Trump. And he's conned these people who he's been dismissive of his whole life. And you know what's even worse, though? Matt Schlapp from CPAC, the head of the CPAC, defended Trump on Twitter. And this, to me, Trump saying something idiotic, it's Monday. It's what he does. But this is the scary part. Matt Schlapp, because then Trump deletes this tweet and retweets it correctly, putting Missouri, and doesn't make a big deal of it. I thought for sure he'd be getting Sharpie out there and writing the word Kansas over Missouri like he did with the hurricane. But Matt Schlapp from CPAC defends Trump, going, you Eastern establishment elitists, Kansas City is in Kansas. There's no need to defend the guy. He withdrew the tweet and put up a correct one afterwards. He didn't apologize or say I make a mistake or joke around. But that shows how dangerous Trump's base is. These enablers like Matt Schlapp, who go on CNN at times and not MS anymore and Fox, defend anything Trump does, including putting the wrong state down. And even Trump admits it, but Matt Schlapp still feels the need to defend this man from anything and everything. And then you had the halftime show, which pissed off right-wing men. And the halftime show, in fact, on some level, I mean, it was, if you watch it, it was Shakira and J-Lo. And just as an aside, I want to play this 20-second clip because apparently until last night, no one knew Shakira was half Arab. I don't know how people were missing this. She's been belly dancing for decades, folks. What do you think that is with the hips? And here's just a little bit of music, which is quintessential Middle Eastern music. Even Nina knows this music. This is like famous Arab drums, clip number 4 from the Super Bowl show yesterday. So she did the belly dancing there. She even did the ululation, like the la 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 la. And people are like, what is that? What's that turkey call? I'm like, how stupid are you? First of all, how do you not know that Hollywood has made every Muslim woman in a movie who's the wife of a terrorist or in a burqa make that sound, first of all. Second of all, and she's not Muslim, by the way, but it's part of Arab culture. Women do that when they're celebrating. So there was Shakira doing that. And on some level, when you think about it, Shakira and J-Lo on the stage together was all things Trump hates on one stage. You've got a woman of Puerto Rican heritage, J-Lo, who came out with a big Puerto Rican flag and an American flag, but did have the Puerto Rican flag as a huge jacket. It was really cool. And Shakira's an immigrant who's half Arab, half Colombian. And they're both strong, outspoken women. These are all the things Trump hates. The women he likes are ones who take hush money and disappear. Women who are silent. So Trump clearly didn't like it, didn't say anything, but his right-wing enablers did. They went after them. You had Franklin Graham, the fake Christian, because to me, the right-wing evangelicals, they're not a faith. They're a political party. There's Democrats, there's Republicans, and there's evangelicals. And evangelicals are their own political party. Franklin Graham's the leader of that party. So he took to Twitter right away because he wants to oppress women. Can you imagine if a Muslim man wrote this? Like if I wrote this or Keith Ellison? But Franklin Graham writes his garbage. He wrote in response to J-Lo and Shakira dancing, I don't expect the world to act like the church, but our country has had a sense of moral decency on primetime TV in order to protect children. We see that disappearing before our eyes. It was demonstrated in tonight's Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show with millions of kids watching. And he goes on to slam J-Lo and Shakira. How dare they? And worse, John Miller, you're not going to know his name, but he's a host on The Blaze. It's Glenn Beck's channel, which is now 150% pro-Trump. He does the Trumpian thing and attacks what we saw on stage even more. He writes, glorified Puerto Rican flag-clad strippers parading around an R-rated halftime show at USA's biggest TV event. Who exactly was this performance for? Not people who love America. I'm glad the demise of our country is worth reaching your target demo, which is obviously changing. Close quotes. Listen to these guys. They are so angry at this. How scantily clad, they're waving the Puerto Rican flag. It's almost like they're angry that these women dare not to be white. Because they're not white, how dare they? Because, as I posted on Twitter, white women on Dancing with the Stars have been much more scantily clad than these two, doing everything. They're hugging them and simulating making out with them as part of the dances and almost dry humping. No outrage there, because they're white women in primetime, but a brown woman in primetime, no. Dressed actually more clothes, and you go to my Twitter feed at Dean Obeidallah, you'll see what I posted from Dancing with the Stars, and you'll see I'm not exaggerating to make this point. And of course, these guys were not upset when Donald Trump demonized Dr. Christine Ford, who bravely went on national TV and testified under oath how Brett Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her. And even if you don't believe her, she's a victim. You know she's a victim of something. And she was hurt by, I believe her, but I'm saying even if you didn't believe her, she does not deserve to be demeaned and ridiculed and laughed at. And that's what Donald Trump did. He went to his rally that night and made his base laugh at her. And I want to play this clip because this is a clip to me, this is so important. Clip number 5.
What he's going through, 36 years ago, this happened. I had one beer. Right? I had one beer. Well, do you think it was? Nope, it was one beer. Oh, good. How did you get home? I don't remember. How'd you get there? I don't remember. Where is the place? I don't remember. How many years ago was it? I don't know. I don't know. What neighborhood was it in? I don't know. Where's the house? I don't know. Upstairs, downstairs, where was it? I don't know. But I had one beer. That's the only thing I remember.
Where was Franklin Graham calling that out? Where was the host from The Blaze and other right-wing men calling that out? Nowhere. They defended that because they love Brett Kavanaugh, because ultimately they want Christian Sharia law. They want the oppression of women. And I hope whoever our Democratic nominee is, they have a commercial specific to Donald Trump demonizing women. Like there, he feels sorry for Brett Kavanaugh. Same thing, show Trump headlines about Rob Porter's aide who beat his 2 ex-wives. We saw one with a black eye. And show Trump going, remember he said he's innocent. He's a good guy. I feel bad for him. Have Donald Trump defending Roger Ailes as president, which he did, after he was fired from Fox News, after countless women came forward. And of course, Trump himself calling women liars who came forward, vowing to sue them. I hope that becomes a commercial on its own, so that women and men around this country are challenged to say, that's okay. I want that for 4 more years. I want my children to learn that's the way you treat women. That's what I really want in that. I want, forget policy. To me, this is more about decency. So tonight we will beginning our choice to pick the nominee who will take on Donald Trump, a man who celebrates cruelty and white supremacy and bigotry and racism and now corruption. And just a few things, and I'm going to take calls on this. I want to hear what you think about the candidates. No slamming other candidates. If you like a candidate, tell me why you like your candidate. Share that. We haven't done that on the show in a long time, but we are now in the primary season. We have a Iowa caucus tonight. Next Tuesday, New Hampshire primary. I'll be up there. Michael will be there. We'll be live from the Red Arrow Diner in Manchester on Monday. I'll be doing a show live. I hope you'll come out. I'll repeat a lot of times. Michael will be there on Tuesday, I believe. But so quick thing here. How many delegates do you need to win the nomination this cycle? In 2020, you need a majority of the nearly 4,000 delegates. So you need 1,991 to win the nomination on the first ballot. As opposed to other years, superdelegates can't vote in the first ballot. No superdelegates. So it's really up to pledged delegates, meaning who win these elections. It's up to the Democrats. Turning to Iowa, there's only 41 delegates at stake. That's nothing when you look at the big picture. But it talks about momentum. It gives people a sense of who's been getting the traction on the ground, who's been building a structure, a campaign. And if you win, it's going to help you raise money. And except for billionaires, money is really important to keep going. The person who's won Iowa, for good or for bad, has been our Democratic nominee now going back to 2000. Al Gore won in 2000 Iowa. John Kerry won it in 2004. Barack Obama 2008. 2016, Hillary Clinton won it. And we will likely see one or two candidates drop out tomorrow, I would imagine, if all things are normal. In 2008, 2 Democrats dropped out the next day. 2 senators, one Chris Dodd, and this other guy named Joe Biden dropped out. And the caucus actually begins, they close the doors at 7 p.m. their time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time. There's almost 1,700 precinct locations and satellite locations, a few more. And the way they'll do it, they'll go in, you got to stand there and you line up for your candidates. And if you don't have 15%, if a candidate doesn't have 15% of the people at that location, then they're told you can either support someone else who's got 15% or go home. That's why it's going to be odd. It's not like you go in a ballot booth and you cast a ballot. This thing moves around. There's people begging each other, come over here, support us. So there's a lot of locations tonight. There's churches, community centers, and for the first time ever, mosques. That's right, 5 mosques in Des Moines have been named official satellite locations. And I had on one of the leading Muslim Democrats from New Hampshire on Thursday to explain the process and how he applied and how it's going to mean even more Muslims involved. And what's great is, look, Friday, Donald Trump expanded his Muslim ban. The GOP is saying we want to ban Muslims from this soil. Democrats are embracing Muslims. And that's so much in a microcosm what our parties are about. The diversity of the Democratic Party versus the Republican Party becoming increasingly white. Need an example? There's 535 members of Congress, 435 in the House, 100 in the Senate. How many black Republicans out of 535? How many out of 535? Can you guess? 2. And one of them is leaving at the end of this year. That's the party. It's becoming, I mean, you can't even argue. It's a party about keeping, it's a firewall against the loss of white supremacy. And I know people makes their hair on their back of their neck go up if they're a Republican. That's not true. I don't mean you're going to burn a cross on someone's lawn. I mean you're about the white power structure. You're concerned about the browning and changing of America. The same way you had the guy from The Blaze slamming changing America. Tucker Carlson, same thing, the changing America. Laura Ingraham. That's white supremacy, folks. That's real white supremacy. It's demographic majority by pure population. That's why Trump has reduced the number of refugees, lowest we've ever had since the refugee program. That's why now it's Remain in Mexico program. If you want asylum, you can't even come to America. Keep them out. That's why Donald Trump's new change to the public charge rules to make it harder for legal immigrants to get a green card if they accept any government programs. So what we know from the polls for tonight, and I can just tell you this, tonight is really wide open. It's because there's so many candidates. Many are not going to make it to 15%, meaning their candidate not going to have the support. They're going to be begged to go to the other person's campaign. I will tell you this, in the latest polls, Bernie Sanders certainly number 1, but it's very, very close. Joe Biden right behind him. You've got then Buttigieg and Warren a few points behind them, sort of tied. And beyond that, you have Klobuchar at about 10%. The thing here that's very interesting to me is that Klobuchar's at 10%. She's moved up. That's a substantive number. But if she doesn't get 15% at a caucus location, her 10% will be released to go somewhere else. The number 1 second choice for Klobuchar in the polls, Joe Biden. Meaning that could change everything. If they all go to Biden or most, Biden wins. Liz Warren, if she doesn't get 15%, because she's now right at 15%, if she doesn't get 15% in certain caucus locations, because it's each caucus location, you have to get 15%. If she doesn't, the number 1 second choice for her people, Bernie Sanders. Game changer. That's why I'm saying no one knows what's going to happen tonight. We're going to have 2 people from Iowa join us later. Olivier Knox, who's the White House correspondent for SiriusXM. He's out there. Congressman Mark Pocan's going to join us as well for a little bit to share. We had Eugene Scott on Friday live from Washington Post reporter live from Iowa, shared what he saw, and my friend, who's a Muslim activist, Democrat as well, talked about what he saw. So, look, you're my guest at the top of the hour. I want to get your sense on the candidates. Who do you like? Is your mind still open? Or are you locked in? And please do not use this as an opportunity to slam other candidates. I have no patience for that. Talk about your candidate. Why should people support the candidate you like? What makes them the best? Whatever it might be. This is not a test. I sincerely want to hear from people about the candidates you like right now. And if you haven't narrowed it down, who are you down to? Who are the 2 or 3 you're torn between? And what will it make it? What factor are you looking at that might help you make that decision? Is it who wins tonight and next week in New Hampshire? Does that matter to you? Polls came out over the weekend. Even more Democrats now say their number one goal, it's actually increased, not decreased. There was another poll, same thing. Are you going to go with your head or your heart? Subtly the same question. Moving up to the head over the heart. Has your view changed on who's best positioned to beat Donald Trump? Knowing that is the biggest priority for Democrats, especially undecided. So let's talk about it. This is your chance. I'd love you to share who you like, why you like them, who you torn between, and why, and what factor will it be that makes you go, you know what, that's it. This is why I'm supporting the person. And I mean by that, well, you're going to watch there's a debate Friday. Does it take another debate? Does it have to do with a couple more early primary states? Because we're going to have Iowa, New Hampshire, following week Nevada, then South Carolina. Then you get to March 3rd, Super Tuesday. After Super Tuesday, we will probably down, if history is a guide, 4 or 5 candidates. What's different, we have 2 of them are billionaires who can stay as long as they want. Usually they drop out because they have no money. So that's just the truth. So let's take a break. 866-997-4748. Love to hear from you right here on the Dean Obeidallah Show. At this point, the question is not